like 2 a.m. in the morning, and my mom woke me up and was like, Gemma, you need to take a pregnancy test. And I was like, what? I wasn't even awake. And then I faked a pregnancy test and went back to bed. But I knew, somehow.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Bro, every time you're talking over the intro, man. Well, anyway, it's episode 68. We're joined here with, once again, one of our favorite guests. One of our most viewed episodes, actually, I think.
Who said she was our favorite?
Gemma.
Gemma Josephine.
Invited back somehow. Thanks, Luke. I want just a nice, smooth sailing day.
Wow.
Welcome back, Gemma. How are you?
Not as great as I was a couple minutes ago.
That's unfortunate. Get over yourself.
Oh my gosh. No, I'm good.
How's life been,
Sorry.
Gemma? What's last time you were on here, she's still very young, but she's gotten older.
Tiny.
How's life been since?
Life's been good. I'm still living in Denver, Colorado, working for a nonprofit that works with survivors of sex trafficking. It's been, just a crazy couple of months of learning how to parent and work and come visit people.
Just so everyone knows, Gemma, her family's in what state? Idaho, right?
Yeah.
Sandpoint.
Yes.
And so she's kind of on her own with a kid. And I can kind of relate because, I'm kind of on my own, but my parents are 10 minutes away.
Without a child.
Without a child. So I can't imagine what you have to go through on a day-to-day basis. But that's cool. Yeah, I mean, she can start to talk now. She can run.
Yep, she's walking, she's talking, she's turning into an actual person.
She's not human yet.
Well,
Whoa there,
still-
Aiden.
Hey, man, she's
100%
still
human.
still just a clump of cells.
no.
Until you're of age, it's just a clump of cells. Me and you too. You're not 18 yet.
Oh, yeah,
Soon.
that's right.
Soon.
And today we kind of want to talk about accepting change. So, Gemma, what made you think of that? I mean, I can kind of imagine why, but
Well, I just think change is something that, from the moment that we're born, we experience change all the time.
yeah,
And I think especially once we get into our teen years, into young adult years, that change switches and becomes a little bit more bigger and a little bit more, can be more challenging. And I just think it's something that not everyone is okay with.
mm-hmm.
And something that, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think change is one of the things that humans fear the most.
Yeah.
Thanks, Josephine, for the input.
Jonah, any what's the biggest change in your life? Have you guys ever had anything?
I don't know if there was any sharp turning point. Hi.
So,
But I don't know. There have been some curveballs, I guess.
Yeah.
college.
Yeah.
Taking my friends away. Give them back, please. I don't know. I have a question, though. If you guys had to choose for every situation in your life, would you rather know long before and, you just know, or would you just have it, you just know the day before and it's really sudden change? Would you rather have slow change or just really sudden change?
Josephine hitting the sound buttons.
Uh-oh.
From what I remember, do you want change fast and suddenly, or do you want to know about it sooner? I don't. Actually, I didn't.
Yeah, it was would you know way
Yeah,
ahead in advance?
would you rather preemptively know for a long time, or would you rather just kind of hit you in the face, but you
You don't have to worry about it beforehand.
Yeah, exactly.
I just let it hit me.
I feel like sudden, yeah.
Because, well, I mean, that's in the case that it's a bad thing. If it was a good thing, I'd want to look forward to it. But
Yeah, that's true.
Not what it has to be.
If it's a
every
bad
situation.
thing, I'd just spend all my time trying to change it.
exactly,
And that would cause a lot of stress.
yeah. Unless it's and it's probably an absolute point in time that you can't change.
Yeah. It's the
So-
question of would you rather know how you were going to die or when you were going to die?
Yeah.
And it's if you knew you were going to die in a car crash, you never get in a car again. Ever.
Yeah. Well, how was it for you, Gemma? Was it sudden, or was it knowing you had a kid?
Yeah, it was pretty sudden. It was 2 a.m. in the morning, and my mom woke me up and I was like, Gemma, you need to take a pregnancy test. And I was like, what? I wasn't even awake. And then I faked a pregnancy test and then went back to bed. But I knew somehow. But yeah, it was really sudden.
Okay, why was this at like 2 a.m. and why did your mom, like, what? I feel like I'm missing something.
So Joe's dad told one of the people that I was living with that he thought I was pregnant. And then the guy he told my mom, because my mom was visiting in town. And I don't know why it was so early in the morning, but she did. She woke me up and she was like, Gemma, you need to take this pregnancy test. And I was like, what do you mean? Why? Like, this is ridiculous. And kind of when the second she asked me to, I kind of was like, I totally am. But I dipped it in the toilet bowl water. I was like, see, I'm not. Can we go back to bed, please? And then we did.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty.
So there was that change.
There was that change. Yep.
And then what went through your, we talked about this last episode, but what went through your head when you figured it out? Because I feel like those are the deciding moments when there's big change like that, like what goes through your head.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of bad change, like immediately, like I went to like the denial phase of I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Like it happened at a period of time where I was really excited of like, okay, I'm going to turn my life around. And then this happened. And I was like, there's no way. Like I was ready to do good and this can't be happening. So for a while it was a lot of like the first, I don't know, couple of days until I had my doctor's appointment and it was actually confirmed. And then at that point it was just a mix of like fear, confusion, like not just, I don't even know how to explain it. But
and this would be hard for like any girl your age, but you're in like a Catholic family,
yeah,
which I feel like adds quite a bit of magnitude to everything.
It did. That's what I was afraid of. I think there is this kind of bad
connotation,
aura.
Yeah, like just view on like if things happen in a religious family that automatically you're going to be ostracized. And that was my fear, especially with my dad, who I've struggled with for a long time. But yes, they were disappointed, but they ended up being my biggest like advocates and like supporters. So
I can't even imagine that conversation. I think I was on a snowmobile one time and I was trying to back it up and I guess like since my gloves on I wasn't able to like click the reverse button enough and I was right next to a car. So instead of like backing up like doing point turns, I just floored the gas right into the car and I dented it and it wasn't like insanely bad. But like for the rest of like the trip that we were up there, I was just like eaten inside. I was like, I don't want to tell. I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to confess. I hate that feeling. So.
Oh, it's the worst. Yeah, definitely had that feeling for sure.
Yeah, but probably like
times 10.
Yeah.
The thing though, like a lot about that was like I couldn't change the situation, so it was either like pack my bags and move to Jamaica or tell people around me and just kind of deal with the consequences of my actions. And I chose the latter, which ended up being the right decision.
Usually is.
Yeah.
Because you can, like, not tell anyone, and then it's just, like, see if it'll get, like, you know, oh, maybe an elk was really drunk or something and ran into the side of my truck. I
don't know. Yeah.
College is a big change that's coming up, but I don't really see it as a positive or negative change. It's just kind of a thing. It does have its positive and negative aspects, though, like abandoning my friends.
Yeah,
I'll be able to visit them on breaks, like Matthew, and not Wolfgang nor Lewis. But, I mean, I'll also be able to make new friends and get accustomed to, like, a different life in a different place.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about change I think that's really cool is whether it's good or bad, you as a person are going to be different because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's something negative and you all of a sudden are different in terms of just now you've got a trauma, or if it's something good and you're going to college, but now you're going to be in a totally different environment, learning things that you wouldn't have if you stayed where you were, which I think is pretty cool.
When I think of change, Isaiah 43:18, is a pretty sweet verse. So remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing new things. I don't know. I think Josephine added some words here. But essentially, I will make a way in the wilderness and create rivers in the desert. So just like God calls us to change, and most of the time it's pretty uncomfortable. Like most of the times when God calls someone in the Bible to do something big, it's a big change. And it's usually he picks someone that we as humans wouldn't think of being worthy, like Saul, Paul, or those kind of stories, or Abraham. So it's yeah.
And the thing about that though is like God asks us to change. We change all the time, but he is the one thing in our life that will never change.
That is cool.
Like he is the most constant, like never changing thing that we have, which makes it really easy to, I think, like you can go through whatever change, but you have Jesus to fall back on.
There is something to be said for like God never changes, obviously, but the way we understand him, like the more we start learning, the more we can understand him. So that does kind of change, I guess.
But that's still like on a personal level.
Yeah.
Like like he will never, like he's
Yeah. I finished Daredevil season 3 last night, and if y'all didn't know, Daredevil is Catholic, and he was talking to a nun that like raised him, and he was like quoting his dad when he said that God's plan is like this tapestry that we can only see like the backside of, and so all we see are like random colors and designs, but we can't tell
the full picture.
Yeah, we can't see the full picture, and we can't tell that it's actually like a beautiful.
Yeah. I was teaching down SGT today, and this kid asked me, like, I prayed for my dad when he was sick that he wouldn't die, and he still died. And those are always like, I feel like the hardest questions to answer, especially for a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
But I just pointed out, like, I bet Mary probably prayed for Jesus when he was on the cross that he wouldn't have to die. But once you see the full picture, and like, if that didn't happen, if God's will didn't come through, like we would essentially all be screwed.
Yeah.
So once you see the full picture, like it does help. But I mean, Gemma, I think you've struggled with this probably the most, just knowing your story. Like when Josephine's dad, like, I don't know if you want to talk about that, but I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, 5 months into my pregnancy, the father of Joe committed suicide. And like in the moment, I think like it was it was terrible. I was a mess. Like I didn't understand. I thought it was my fault. But as time moved on, like, and I look back, like the Lord works the most mysterious ways. And I'm not like, I never wanted to come off as like Jesus like killed him.
Yeah.
But he works everything for good. And like in that moment, like, because of that, and again, super traumatic. Like I think suicide is one of the most evil things a person can do, but like I have been blessed through that. Like the Lord has turned that traumatic situation into like I'm not in a custody battle. I'm not in a war. Like I feel like I would be if he was still here, and I have like I don't know. Like it really comes down to the fact that. At that point in time, I was able to trust the Lord. And that changed a lot because if I didn't, I think I would have seen the situation a lot differently.
Yeah. That is a beautiful thing about believing in Jesus is like everything that happens on this world, the only two things you got to worry about is like love God, love others. Yeah. Because I find myself so often thinking about, okay, money, like all these future plans I have, but then like, okay, none of that really matters. We're just here for a blip. Like there's a rope that goes on for infinity and we're on the first inch of it. Yeah. But that inch determines where we spend that eternity. So it's very important. But I don't know, should we hop into some Q&A? I also have I have an abortion video, like someone saying like 4 reasons why you should get an abortion. I think it'd be really cool to hear your reaction.
Totally
we're gonna debunk this video.
For choosing an abortion.
Right,
what are the common reasons for choosing an abortion? Did you know, according to the National Center on Health Statistics, that almost half of pregnancies in the U.S. are unplanned, and many will get pregnant while using birth control? For every 100 women who rely on the pill for 1 year, 9 will get pregnant. And for every 100 women who rely on condoms for 1 year, nearly 20 will get pregnant. You're not alone. Given the data, there are many women right now in the very same situation as you, and they're asking themselves. Today, we're going to ask an important question. Why do women choose abortion? Welcome to Her Smart Choice. What if you're looking at a home pregnancy test that reads positive? You're likely wondering, what do I do now? Especially if it's an unplanned pregnancy. Maybe you're not ready at the present situation or don't want any more children. Most women who consider abortion say it's more than one factor that contributes to their decision. I want to address some other common reasons for choosing an abortion.
Number 1.
You can't be pregnant right now, as it's not a good time to be pregnant or parent a child, as it'll interfere with school, career, family, or your other responsibilities.
All right, well.
What is this video titled?
Probably 4 most common reasons.
What are the common reasons for choosing an abortion?
Boom.
And immediately off the bat, you can see they value that human life as pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
As pretty much just like it's not a thing.
Yeah. I mean, those are valid, those are fears. Like, I don't ever want to, I'd never tell a woman, oh, that's ridiculous that you're scared to lose your career or that you are 17 and about to have a child. Like, those are all legitimate fears. But, and I think this is where the controversy comes in but it's a human life and it doesn't matter. It at the end of the day, nothing else matters except for the fact that that's a human life. And no matter how inconvenient it may be, you can't kill it.
It doesn't justify ending a human life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, those are all valid fears that women go through and not something to just brush under the rug. But
I think something's also to be said, I feel like if you want to take, to take kids seriously, you have to take the act of, creating a child seriously. And in this culture, it's not. Yeah. And that's the main problem. It's starts from there.
That's true.
And all right, let's keep going from there.
Number 2.
You are not able to afford to raise a child.
That is, I don't know. I have not been in a crazy, I wouldn't say I'm in a good financial position. I have 0 in savings, and sometimes I have $2 in my bank account, and yet I can get Joe diapers. The Lord provides every single time. And I don't think that a child should be killed because of money, because there are so many ways to make it work.
Yeah. I mean, how much, I asked you this yesterday, actually, but how much does it cost to have a kid?
I mean, it costs a lot. I feel like I looked it up, $20,000 or something a year, which is more than I make a year. I make about $8,000 a year. But I mean, it's expensive for sure, but especially women in crisis situations, the amount of people that are willing to help is incredible. And that's I couldn't have done this without the support of others.
Mm-hmm.
And
takes a community, yeah.
Even if you don't know anyone, crisis pregnancy centers will give you free diapers any day. And diapers are expensive. So, money should not be, a reason.
All right, number 4. Oh, no, number 3.
Your current situation makes it hard to be pregnant or parent a child.
All right, these are all literally just the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, just look at all this from a non-believer's perspective.
Yeah.
It's because you say the whole money thing is the Lord's gonna provide, but for them
yeah, no, that's very true.
No, He won't.
I mean, in the beginning of the argument of for someone who doesn't believe, should they have an abortion? When you were approaching someone in that aspect, it really it shouldn't be a religious argument. It's a very biological argument, and in that case, that's different. But
I feel like everything from a non-believer's point of view is so different.
So hard
because we're not to judge people who don't believe, but we're called to love them, and you don't want to lie to them So you tell them the truth, obviously, but like it goes for everything. It goes like, homosexuality is a big one. Like people are always like, dad, he struggles with that. Like, how do I talk to someone that doesn't believe in God? Like, that's not the first thing you go after. If someone's like struggling with like abortion, like let's say they don't even have a kid, they stand for abortion as a human right. Like that's probably not the first thing you should just go and like argue with them about. Yeah. You should teach them about the love of Christ and all that stuff first, I feel like, to introduce that. Like what do you think about that? Is that a good way to do it, or you just go head on kind of like?
I mean, it's such a tricky subject. I think most people, it's hard. Like the honest truth is the likelihood of you changing someone's mind in a conversation about abortion is really slim.
Yeah.
And I think that if you bring the religion argument into it, that might even close them off even more.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people like facts. People like to be like,
especially if they prove their side.
96% of biologists agree that life begins at life, and then being like, oh, like that has nothing to do with religion.
Yeah.
But that's something that they can do their own research on, has nothing to do with feelings or emotions.
And all humans have a sense of morality, like
For
in
sure.
them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the world tries to corrupt that as much as possible. So that's kind of the process of uncorrupting.
Well, like back to like what I would say to a woman, like I don't think in that situation, like again, nothing I can say would probably convince them or necessarily help, but providing like consolation and telling them it's going to be okay, and just saying like it's going to be hard. Like, yeah, don't sugarcoat it. Like it's hard.
Yeah.
You're going to experience and have challenges that it's hard. Like you can't sugarcoat it, but
Josephine is demonstrating the challenge right now.
yes, but it's possible. And like just me as a person saying like if you need anything, like I don't know, when you find yourself in that situation, no argument is gonna change really your mind. Like at the end of the day, it's gonna be based off of, I think, like how supported you feel.
Mm-hmm. And it goes kind of for everything too. Like even with sharing the gospel, like the best way to do it is to do it through your actions, right? And not necessarily through words. So just showing people like the way you live and what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
It's a big thing. Let's go through some Q&A because I think these are all kind of the same thing on this video. So Bethany George asks,
Bethany's back.
Oh, Bethany.
you should make an episode talking about hypocrisy from Christians in this generation and also why hypnotism is bad.
That could be a whole episode on its own.
Hypocrisy.
Yeah.
We had a really good talk with Kyle about that one, so we should have him back on for that.
Yeah.
Kyle is the most wise 30-something-year-old I know.
He's not even 30.
What?
He's in his 20s. He's his late 20s.
Awkward.
Sorry, Kyle.
Unless I'm wrong, then that would be embarrassing. But we're going to pretend that I know.
Okay.
And he is.
Anyways.
Gemma, what do you say about hypocrisy? I mean, do you see a lot of that in the Catholic Church as well?
I feel like it's in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can see it in just Christianity in general.
Yeah.
Like I think it's the biggest thing that turns off like people becoming Christians is other Christians being hypocrites and them following.
I can't really blame him either.
Them following the church and the people that claim to be following Jesus instead of actually following Jesus.
Yeah, seeing some of the stuff. There's like videos and stuff.
It's been hard, like with pre-scandals and stuff. Like,
yeah,
it's everywhere. The devil works everywhere. It's gonna be in everything.
Yeah, this past week, like, I was kind of struggling. I mean, not kind of. I was struggling. I wasn't necessarily like completely happy, but I wasn't like depressed either. It was just kind of neutral. And I mean, I guess you could say I was like living in sin. I wasn't like reading or praying a lot, and I was I don't know, being tempted.
Yeah.
And I came to the thought, like, should I even call myself a Christian if I'm going to live like this right now? Because I think it's, like, really hypocritical to say, like, yeah, I'm a follower of Jesus, and then
do the opposite of what a follower.
Do the things that a lonely teenage boy does.
Yeah.
So
I think we all, like, struggle with that.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest things the devil uses is trying to make us think we're not part of Christ's family and we don't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I don't know. Hypnotism. I don't really know too much about hypnotism,
Yeah.
Me neither.
You should research that one and.
but I know it's probably not recommended.
Yeah, so ping me and I'll circle back.
We'll answer that one in the next episode or so. Next one. So I have a question for you. What do you think about John 12:25?
That's the verse in my Instagram bio.
Let's go. Those who love their
That's
life.
the verse in John, actually.
Those who love their life in this world will lose it. Those who care nothing of their life in this world will keep it for eternity.
Jinx.
Amen, brother.
Oh, I think she's a Yankees fan. Wants me to represent.
But that's kind of what we're talking about. Like, this life is a blip. What does really matter on this earth and what doesn't? And I guess...
I think it's like the way I see it, it's like don't fear death.
Yeah.
Because it's just the beginning of... I mean, for followers, it's just the beginning of...
The beginning.
You know,
Yeah, it's just beginning of the beginning.
the beginning of your next life.
That's the beginning of
with
the beginning.
Jesus is what I was going to say.
You're wrong.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry.
But
So standoffish today.
having a kid probably adds a lot to what you think of life in
Jesus
general.
always goes back to the kid.
Because do you think your purpose changed?
Trying to problem with the kid?
For content.
Her name is Josephine, by the way.
Do you think your
Kidding.
purpose changed in any way once you had a kid?
100%.
What do you think your purpose was before you had a kid?
That's a great question.
I knew you wanted to be some sort of pilot,
Yeah,
Right.
there was lots of like superficial things. Yeah, I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to pursue my
which you are,
childhood.
but
Yes.
not for work.
Just
Not
not a
for
good one anymore.
You know what? Why don't you get in the plane and find out?
I would actually love to fly. Can we go fly?
Yeah, if you rent the plane.
Could we actually just like rent a plane? You could fly us around.
Yeah.
Because we should totally do that.
How much is that? Like,
Like
it's,
$170 an hour.
It's like not that bad. If we all pay for it.
that's
That's
too
true.
much.
Christy's like,
No,
You pay for the whole thing, I'll go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like handouts.
I don't take handouts from everyone. I do anything on my own.
I'm joking. I hate handouts.
Sure.
Especially when other people get it and I don't. Like, you can't get the handout unless I get it too. That's it. That's just how it works.
Those who care nothing for their life will keep it. Just take that into note.
Okay, so that means I gotta keep it? What are you trying to say there?
I don't know. Just stop caring so much, I guess.
Do you think like the biggest? So when before you had a kid, what was the biggest like thing you could do that would possibly your life, like in your head?
I don't know. I think I was just trying to find ways to make myself happy.
Yeah.
Whether that was a job or school, which it wasn't. But it was super, like, I didn't have anything deep. I wanted a family. That was probably, like, the biggest thing I was aiming for, that I was like, oh, I really want a family, which.
Yeah.
But
You
now.
got one now.
I do have one now. It's a tiny one. But now it's, like, it's totally flipped. Like, it almost feels like my sole purpose in life. Like, my sole purpose in life is to get her to heaven.
Yeah.
It really is.
Dang.
But, like, I live, like, my life is totally oriented on her and, like, making sure she's safe and she's happy. So, like, it's just such a different level of purpose.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to, like, making decisions of, like, am I going to do something dumb tonight? No, because that could affect her.
Yeah.
I think Joe's up to some mischief underneath the table.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You know, that raises an interesting question for me. And so when you say that your purpose is to, like, get her to heaven,
Yes.
what's your plan on that? How are you going to raise your child?
That is a fantastic
And I actually, like, stop! You're going to cut the brim off my hat.
No, I'm not. I have my own Yankee with no brim.
Okay, good.
We have such short attention spans.
Yeah.
Great.
He's stealing my favorite hat, and he's going to break it. Okay, anyway.
No. It's my hat.
So you see, like, you know, people, like, they, like, I feel like maybe, oh, God. Now Joe has my hat. Oh, she looks so cute. I'm like a little, so distracted. Okay, focusing back, rephrasing. You said your sole purpose in life is get her to heaven. So, my question to you is, how do you plan on doing that? how, like, are you gonna like raise her in the church? Are you gonna like not do that? Because like you see like a lot of people who are like raised in the church, they like, because when you're like forced to do something, you start to hate it.
Yeah.
That's one of my biggest fears. Like if I did have a family, is like you can see, David's kids.
Yeah. This is like all these amazing people. They had like, I don't know if they just neglected their kids or if like
I think that was probably
kids,
the main problem.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Having multiple wives probably didn't help. But
yeah.
Yeah.
But
what was the guy's name that fell off the roof?
Eli?
When his Eli, yeah.
Eli and
Like
his
Eli was the
sons,
prophet of God, and his kids were absolute like.
yeah, a-holes.
Whoa.
Yeah, they just sucked. So it's like, I wanted to ask like an adult that question on how they plan on raising their kids, but I guess you'll do. So,
I am an adult. Okay.
Jonah, I'm almost a legal adult, bro.
well, I wanted to ask like Chris or something how he is doing it, and he's doing it pretty well, it seems like. But like, I just wanted to get your perspective and your opinion.
What about your parents?
My parents?
Yeah.
I was in Sunday school a lot.
And you're still here.
Yeah, but for some people,
Yes, I am going to raise her in the church. And
That's probably a good call.
how are you not gonna make her hate it?
I don't know. It's like I have had, I think, a unique experience in that, like, the way I was raised. Like, I was raised in the church. It was like something that was not an option, not in like a
You didn't have a gun to your head, but like
no, like it wasn't like you will go, but it was very much like you will go to church on Sunday. Like I was, like my dad is a theologian,
Yeah.
and
He taught me the Lord's Prayer in Latin.
good job.
Pater noster quis in celi sanctificete.
Okay, you don't have to.
Good job. And it was really like it was aggressive, and I had like, especially turning like getting into my teenage years, like I struggled of like that feeling of like, yeah, I don't want to do something because they want me to do it. But my parents did a good job in the fact that like I knew it was the truth because they really made it clear of like this is the truth. And I felt it when I wasn't in line with that. I was like, I'm not doing it right. So like I think that, I don't know, I'm not gonna like, I don't want to make her hate it, but it's gonna be like, as long as she's under my roof, like she is gonna be asked to participate in the faith.
Yeah.
And again, like, I don't know, getting her to heaven is my goal, but at the end of the day, like, she is her own person and she'll make her own decisions. And there is a certain level of like, I have no control over that, but I can do the best that I can. And I hope that I show her the faith in a way that makes her love it, in a way that gets her inspired and doesn't make her hate it. But like, to me, faith is like the most important thing. And so I'm not going to live out of a place of fear of like, I'm just going to throw her in, and if she does well, great.
So you're doing it Catholic?
Yes.
Real Catholic.
That brings us to Christianity versus.
So
Wow.
The way my mom did it, I'm going to interrupt you.
okay.
My mom, or my parents, I should say, I guess, they didn't force me to do anything when it comes to spirituality. I did go to church when I was like a kid, I guess, and I was baptized in a church in Connecticut, I think, maybe North Carolina. I went to Sunday school a few times, but I didn't like it. I don't know if anyone liked Sunday school in elementary school or whatever, but
Hey, I did. I was the smartest kid there, bro. Since everyone else was out there watching SpongeBob and Phineas and Ferb, and I only got to watch Bible videos, guess who got all the questions right? Guess who knew the stories? Guess who was able to predict the stories to the other kids?
That's the most passionate I've seen Jonah in a long time.
Wow.
Guess who? Me.
Okay,
In
anyways,
case you weren't able to already.
In my early adolescence and tween years, I the question came to me in the form of Young Life or Wildlife at the time. I don't know how they like reached my mom, but my mom was like, "Hey, do you want to go to this like camp?" I'm like, "Sure." And then it was like the middle school version of Young Life, which is Wildlife, and like the question came like, "Are you a believer?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I was pretty sure that up to that point I had believed in God, but I didn't know anything more. And after that, I started taking into account like the way that my mom was so encouraging, especially with words from the Bible, and I was inspired by that.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't forced to do anything. And
Yeah, but
I got here spiritually by choice.
the moment you're forced to, like, hey, do you want to go to this camp? No. Too bad. You're going. And then you're at the camp, and then you're having fun, but you're already so upset, and you're not supposed to have fun because you didn't want to go, and
Yeah, you
you're
were forced
supposed
to
to
be
hate
there.
this camp. So you're having fun. You're like, no, I'm supposed to hate it here. And then you're just going to ruin it for yourself.
No. I mean, there's I forgot what the Bible verse is, but it says like, if you raise a kid in the path that's straight, like they will stay on that path. So that's encouraging.
And in such a world right now that's so confused and has nothing like
Nothing to stand on.
nothing to stand on. Like to me, it's an extra important like to make sure that she has something.
Yeah.
to ground
Okay,
her.
going to back to my question of making her not hate it. I don't mean any offense, and like I don't want to like
Well, I'm pretty offended.
But
Just kidding. I'll go for it.
everyone I've like talked to, I was like, hey, like that was like a former Christian.
Mhm.
It's like you like if you get to know their story like well enough, like 90% of the time, it's they were raised in the Catholic Church and hated like all like the rituals and stuff, and hated having to like
Rituals.
were like forced to go there, and then they just like left.
Is that the Catholic Church where it's like people from our church that complain about it and they go to that one?
Man, I wasn't ready to talk about this.
We're not either. We're just
Um,
asking questions.
Well, I just feel like it's such like a like I don't know.
We wanna get
I feel like I'm
answers from real
representing the entire
Catholics.
Catholic Church right now. Okay.
You might as
I'm
well be the
putting a
Pope,
lot
Gemma.
of weight on your shoulders.
I think everyone has a unique story and everyone has a unique experience. I think that there are some legitimate like people have been hurt in the church.
In all churches, not
Yeah.
just
In
us.
all
It's
churches.
not just the Catholic Church,
Yes.
but I think they get the worst name.
I think
Worst
so.
rep, yeah.
I think that's partly because like
You're not
like-
wishy-washy on anything.
we're not wishy-washy about anything, and we're a lot more like we aren't just a go with the flow. We have like the way we do things, and it's very unconventional to almost every other church.
Yeah.
And I think that's really hard. Of like I've talked with multiple. What's the one that's close? Evangelicals?
That sounds right.
Evangelists.
Evangelists?
Evangelical.
Whatever one is the closest to the Catholic Church without being the Catholic Church. Like they're
okay.
like there's just a lot of people that they don't like all the rules in place. They don't like that they have to show up to church every Sunday, and like that we think that that's not okay if you don't. You know, like there's just a lot of like I think there's just a level of seriousness, and there's just a different like I just think like when I come to like if I came here or when I've been to like a Protestant church, I feel like I'm at like a youth retreat of like you have the music and you're pumped up and like you have that great like sermon or homily, whatever you guys call it, and I leave like like that was like it feels very just lighthearted. Whereas when you go to the Catholic Church, it's more quiet and you're not doing all of this crazy hyper stuff, and it's a lot more of like an internal like I find myself like having closer interactions with God through that sometimes. Not that one is better than the other.
That's
I just
really
think
interesting to me because to me personally, because I'm so used to this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Every time I'm like in Switzerland or something, that was the worst one. We went to a church in Switzerland that was a French speaking part. So we went, and Mass was 2 hours long,
yeah, those are hard.
and I sat down on this wooden bench, and I was like, "Good God, help!" And then he's speaking in Latin first of all, so no one understands him. And then he starts speaking in French. So I still don't understand him. So for 2 hours, I'm sitting there and I don't understand anything this guy is saying. And he's walking around in his robe and he's swinging his smoke and stuff. I don't know the whole.
It's
something else. I don't know.
It is
like-
something else, and I'm like, I think from like especially like I don't know, just a really basic standpoint, like it sounds more fun to come and sing praise and worship,
Yeah.
and like
Honestly,
it's more entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the high energy stuff though. Like I honestly come to church late just to skip like the worship music.
Yeah.
Because I don't like.
Okay, yeah.
But there's something like
I will say I would much rather sit, I think, in a Catholic.
I've never been to a mass though.
It's great. You should go.
Maybe not all the way through, but like the whole like hymn sermon. Then just have like some of these people that are like up at the front of like these crazy mega churches. Like there's this scene in Borat. I watched Borat yesterday. I don't know if anyone remembers the church scene.
I don't.
But like that is like when people see that, they're like, good God. Like it was one of those like mega churches in Texas, and it's like this dude, and he's like very obviously faking that he's speaking in tongues. So he's just like, and then there's the dudes like this one dude is just running around the sanctuary like with his hands behind him, and he's just just like,
yeah. I think the really cool thing, and I think both like every practice is beautiful. I don't think like I'm not saying that ours is better. But there is a certain level of just beauty in the Catholic Church of like when like you, at least a good Catholic church, our Catholic churches right now are, but like you walk in and it's beautiful, and everything in the church is supposed to be pointing you towards God, not anyone else around you, which I think is interesting because when I go to a Protestant church, it's a lot of like we are here to worship together. It's very communal. It's very like, how do we love the Lord through each other?
I think we take the body of Christ thing very seriously.
We do. You?
Yeah.
Really? That's great. And it's just like,
well, what you're trying to say is like we are the body.
What?
I don't know what you're saying.
Oh, I don't know.
No, I was just saying like you come in and it's like you're talking like I don't know. Whereas the Catholic Church, like everything is oriented like. Even the altar in front with all the statues like are supposed to point you towards heaven, and it's not about who you came with or like what mood you're in. It's about like growing close to the Lord in that individual relationship, not
personal versus communal.
Yes. Yeah. Which I think both are necessary in the spiritual life, but I think the Catholic Church is just
you say there's
really
a better balance?
What?
Would you say there's a better balance of that?
I don't know. I think when it comes to the Mass and where we take like the Eucharist and the body of Christ so incredibly seriously, like in the Mass situation, I think it's as it should be. I think it should be quiet and reverent and completely pointed towards Him. But then outside of Mass, that 1 hour every Sunday, I think that the Catholic Church, like we could do better at doing more like vibrant activities, which moving to Denver has opened my eyes because there actually is a lot of that out there. But I think no one, at least a lot of people in our society, don't like to follow rules. We don't like to be told what to do. And the Catholic Church very much is like, this is what we believe and this is what you're supposed to do, which I think makes it really easy for people, especially young people, to be like, I don't want to do that. That's that's just too much.
Because young people are supposed to be like revolutionaries, you know?
Yeah, but it's all about like how
we can't listen to old ideas. We got to
and
create our new own ideas.
Yeah. And so like, I think it's a challenge, but that is just a testament to like, at least the way I see it, of like, how much do I value my faith? Do I value it enough to like be okay setting aside an hour, which some are too, but like in all retrospect, like that's a very short period of time. Like, I want to get to heaven. So therefore, like I am okay, and I've come to be okay. I fought with it a lot, but like I'm okay following the rules, and it's inconvenient sometimes. But I personally think like that's what's going to get me to like that's going to help me get to heaven.
Yeah. So I think for you, like since you're like really serious and you actually like mean like what you do, then like the Catholic Church is awesome. But for someone who's been brought into it by their parents and everyone, all of their other like school friends are out, you know, I don't know, skiing or whatever, and you're sitting in Mass, I feel like, and just any church in general, I feel like that would be just such a turnoff.
I think it then comes to like at a certain point.
It's a thing.
Yeah, you have to do your own self discovery of it, and if you believe it, you'll do it.
Yeah, so I guess that's what my question really boiled down to is, if Josephine doesn't want to come to church anymore and would rather go do other things, are you gonna force her to come? And to what age would you?
I don't know.
18.
I mean, part of me is like, as long as she's under my roof, like she will be required to follow a certain amount of things, and church on Sunday is one of them. But the thing about Catholic church is you can also go Saturday night. Or sometimes Sunday night. Like there's a lot of flexibility.
Wednesday night, yeah.
Well, no. But but like there's just a lot of like, I don't know.
I think the thing this boils down to is when people start trying to make Christianity hip and cool and appealing for reasons besides knowing the truth, then at first it'll get people, but the people it does get turn into lukewarm Christians, and
I think lukewarm
is not.
I'm gonna call out Young Life right here. I think that's the problem with Young Life. You get them hooked, and then you just don't really develop them.
Well, there's a new rule actually where if you've attended 2 camps, you're not allowed to go to any more.
What?
That's not true.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to go to any more. Neither is Trevor or the freshmen or now the sophomores.
Really?
Yeah, they've already attended 2. Because
Why?
it's meant for newcomers. You can tell in every
Yeah,
I guess you can call it a curriculum.
I think that's.
You can tell that it's
they're not
usually the same. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Offering like a camp for people who have gone more than twice?
That'd be cool, but it'd be a lot more work because you'd have to.
Then you have to change everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Young Life is. The progression for Young Life is you go to some camps, you get introduced to Jesus, and then ideally do work camp, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's stupid, is to limit people to only 2 camps. I'm going to have to have a talk with Dan.
I think that's
Dangler.
ridiculous too.
I thought it was
what?
ridiculous at first, and then I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? I don't really need to go to any more camps.
Well, are they?
But
are
you
they,
know it. But like if it's a newcomer,
Are they saving
Yeah.
spots?
Well, they're not
for
newcomers if
people?
they've gone twice.
Well, that's another thing. It does save spots. True.
Facts.
That's another thing. It does save spots for people. Like, you could like recommend a friend to go and be like.
Well, because I've gone to a lot of camps, and the reason a lot of people go repeatedly is not because of Jesus. It's because the hot tubs and the fun activities and the other girls they can go meet there. That's the reason they go.
And the chance to meet a new partner.
Yeah.
oh, can I go?
So that's probably the main reason. But I think it'd be cool to dedicate a whole episode to like Christianity versus Catholicism. Because right now we've just like talked about like what we feel about each other's thing. We haven't talked about like true differences and like different theological
I think
things.
it would be a very fascinating episode.
I think so. And I think we need like a video to react to, or I don't know how we would do
I'm
it.
still triggered about this Young Life thing.
Move on, Jonah.
No, it's about. So that means I
Jonah,
can't go anymore.
grow up.
It means I can't go anymore.
Hey guys, we got another question over here.
Oh, sorry.
Because it's about the maturity of your leader. Your
Jonah?
leader can mature.
Jonah, let it go.
Jonah, grow
Oh,
up.
Let it go.
passionate about this.
Let it go.
Do y'all think that this generation is full of distractions?
Absolutely.
Next question.
To think that it's not as foolish.
Okay, no, let's elaborate.
Is this baby a distraction though?
Yes.
She's
She's a good one
a
though.
distraction from my faith, Gemma.
If she doesn't put you towards God, I don't know what will. Because he said, "Let the children come to me." Okay. You must become childlike. Okay.
That's TikTok right there. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay. Distractions. Top distractions. Top
Phone.
3.
Phones.
Yeah. The internet in general.
Yeah.
I'm on a dopamine cleanse right now because I was on Snapchat and Instagram, and I just got my screen time report this morning. It was like 6 hours a day, and I was like, okay.
I deleted TikTok 2 days ago. I told Luke. I'm very excited.
Well, now
about
she's
that.
watching Instagram Reels, but no, I'm just kidding.
Well,
I'm joking.
How did you know?
That's the problem. And then you get rid of Instagram, and then you go to YouTube Shorts.
Yeah.
There's just always the next one. You have to just if you want to get off social media, you have to get off all of them.
exactly. Like I
Because
got
they're all
off
the same.
Snapchat, and then Instagram is just like scrolling, and
And then
it's
you get
like-
rid of YouTube and Instagram, and then you're like, oh, it's over.
Facebook. Their videos are weird.
Dude, one of my main distractions is
so-
scrolling Facebook Marketplace.
They're so long.
I love
Facebook
scrolling.
And they're
videos
totally
are
staged,
so long,
too.
And they're so bad. It's like a 5-minute video of this.
But you
like,
still watch it.
no, this dude he's like crafting his own hot tub or something. And it's like a 20-minute video. And like if you don't know that there's the skip option, like you're just gonna sit there.
Yeah.
Like for an elderly
And then it won't
person.
even like finish it, and you'll be like, but yes, lots of distractions.
How do I find the part?
I also think
hot tub video.
I don't know. Social media, internet.
Yeah.
Um,
Those kind of fall in the same thing, I guess. Yeah.
yeah.
The wanting of experiences is a big distraction for a lot of people. Just that seeking of wanting to do what other people are doing, not missing out, I think is a big distraction.
FOMO.
I think
Self-importance,
selfishness.
selfishness. Everything boils down to selfishness when you think about it. Everything bad in the world usually boils down to you wanting things and getting it because
As
you
the
want
great
it.
Jack Wolfgang Jansen once said, every sin is born out of selfishness.
Yeah.
So, selfishness is distracting.
I think, yeah. There's also good distractions.
Yes, indeed.
So don't get rid of those.
Yeah, distractions from the world, I guess those could be good.
Yeah, I think
Your
there's...
yellow phone?
Like, I guess debatably the Bible can be a distraction from everything else.
From the evil of the world.
But I don't know if we call that a distraction, more of a source of truth.
Yes.
It's a distraction from the indomitable human spirit.
Yes.
And it's
Abominable snowman.
and its ability to break through the unrelenting evil of the universe.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the first sin, Adam and Eve, like...
Okay, this is going for
It's
too
too-
long.
okay, too deep.
Let's-
Okay,
let's
next question,
wrap
sorry.
this up. Let's get this over with.
Someone's done.
Audrey Linda, how do you turn to God? How do you turn to turn... Sorry, I don't think
I
this
think-
probably got messed up again. How do you turn to God during bad times? I haven't been feeling motivated to pursue God lately. I guess the perspective of when you're in the bad times and what does that mean about you and God and that relationship is
For
probably
me-
something you want to tackle.
For me last week,
Oh, would you like some coffee? I think you're a little
I'm
young.
not allowed to have caffeine yet, Josephine.
Oh, she's allowed.
I wasn't. That's not fair.
Life isn't
I
fair.
forced her to drink
Just
coffee.
because I wasn't allowed to, that means your kid can't either.
Exactly.
Wow.
That's unfair.
Hold up.
She can't get a handout if I don't.
Yeah, exactly. That's how this works.
Anyways, for me, it started with a prayer because Wild at Heart is my new favorite book. And at
Besides
the
Bible.
end, well,
No,
that
he
has a lot.
prefers it.
Yeah, actually. No, that's a bunch of books though. So, anyways, at the end he included like a daily prayer for encouragement and other things.
Yeah.
And so I just listened to that and followed along. And then after I said my own prayer in a similar fashion. And I remembered that at breakfast on one Wednesday morning, we were talking about like how you can put like a format on prayer. And it's so you think of like the Lord's Prayer, but you put your own twist on it based on your situation. And so that's what I did. It's like, say what you're thankful for, and ask for forgiveness and confess your sins, and then like ask for stuff.
The wish list side.
Yeah, your wish list. Because like your wish list is meaningless if you can't like reconcile with your wrongdoings. So
I usually just ask for his will because I'm like, I don't know what I want.
yeah, that's true.
I think what helped me was the realization that like prayer doesn't have to be a specific thing all the time. Like it doesn't have to be.
It's a conversation.
Yeah, like especially in hard times when you're like, I do not want to pray. Like for me, it was something as simple as saying, Lord, I'm here. Like just sit with me until you get to a better place where you're willing to do a little bit more. Or just
cool.
like inviting him into the situation. I think that's like all he wants is he wants us to invite him into his life,
Yep.
into our lives. And so when we find it difficult being like, be honest, like like how you would a friend and be like, Lord, I am angry and I do not want to talk to you. Like, help me.
Yeah.
Like it can be just as simple as that. And that like the Lord can work through that and maybe, I don't know, give you what you need to do something just a little bit more.
Yep. I was on the sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was on the plane. I think he was going to Florida during Thanksgiving break. And I don't remember what I was listening to, but God Only Knows by For King and Country
Love that song.
came up. And like for some reason I had this like way different experience listening to it than any other time that I've listened to it. And like, I've listened to the words before, but that time I started like tearing up and crying. I was like, dang, there's only like one being who knows
What you've been through.
like who knows the real me.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's really important to know if you like, sorry. I think it's really important to know that.
No, that's cool. I mean, if you're having a bad time, just go read Job.
And it's like, yeah, it's hard to be motivated.
Yeah. And don't just talk to God during the bad times. I think that's what a lot of people
yeah.
do, is they'll just ask God when they need him. But if you really want to have a relationship and like someone to be there to help you, it's like a relationship. You don't just have them in the bad times. You have them in all the times. So I think with that being said, Gemma, any last wise words you would like to tell maybe mostly like girls struggling with whatever it may be? Any words of encouragement? Or
Our viewership is mostly girls, so this is your
Is it actually?
this is your one
I
shot.
think it's like 70%.
Wow. Well, the pressure's on.
Have a baby.
Yes. No. I mean, if you want to learn a really hard lesson, don't recommend.
if you want patience.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I've grown in that. I ran out of that.
Better hurry before she stops recording.
No. I just
Go, Gemma, go.
like everything in life is challenging. Things are changing. We live in a really tough world where you're being told a million different things. There's a lot of different things that you can choose to believe in, choose to do. But just take it one step at a time. Don't live out of a place of fear. You only get one life. Take the risks, love hard, like be passionate, follow the Lord, and yeah, just don't give up.
I could put all that on like a sign that like my mom would put up in the kitchen.
I have learned cliches are so true though.
Yeah, no, no.
Like-
I just thought of something. Like, if I could change my senior quote, I would, because I used a quote from Diogenes that says like, "Why not whip the teacher when the pupil misbehaves?"
What?
It's saying like it's the teacher. It's pretty much saying that it's the teacher's fault that the student's misbehaving,
Okay.
because a good teacher wouldn't allow that in the first place.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
Josephine is done with this. Let's wrap this up. Aiden, just
Anyways, if
save
I
it
could
for
change my
next
senior
episode.
quote, I would say like, don't listen to your heart, like, because the Lord wants something way better for you than your heart ever could. Your heart is deceitful.
Let me add a cliche to that. You have two lives. The first one begins when you know you have, when you realize you have one.
Jonah, any
It's so
cliches?
good. What is it? Don't just
I hate that
do
one.
great. Be great. Or something.
So many
No.
cringy quotes.
They're cringy, but they're true.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you for
Turning
watching.
into a
Hit the
mom.
subscribe
I
button.
am.
Go follow Jem on Instagram. Follow her journey.
Yes.
And she'll be back one day. We'll debate each other on Catholicism versus. Aw.
You can't say anything after
No,
that.
yeah.
Saying it, nope, it's over.